What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to talk about 4 different guys for the New York Jets to target in a trade. Now, this is not a big-time blockbuster deal. We've seen them already make a trade for Davante Adams, but that was not the Jets' only need. The Jets have a need, in my opinion, on the defensive line. It's very frustrating when you watch John Franklin Myers have another productive game for the Denver Broncos, and the Jets essentially traded him away for monetary purposes and didn't offer him a reworked contract. Just very dumb. John Franklin Myers trading him away, that one has to go on either if Woody Johnson not wanting to fork over the money, then you blame him, or if it was Joe Douglas just saying, hey, we can get more out of Michael Clemens and be fine with JFM traded away, well, then you got to pin that on the GM because, well, the Jets have a massive issue on the defensive line, considering the only one getting any sort of consistent pass rush is Will McDonald, and the Jets absolutely stink against the run right now. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to go over 4 different names, 2 interior defensive linemen, and 2 edge rushers. And I'm not talking big game hunting. I'm not saying, Max Crosby or Josh Hines-Allen or, whatever. This is semi-realistic, would likely take a day 3 pick to acquire, veteran who can help out this defensive line. And really, it depends on what your preference is. If you want an edge rusher, that's fine. If you want an interior guy, because Javon Kinlaw hasn't been very good next to Quinnen Williams, also fine. Again, I just kind of wanted to go up over some options here. In my opinion, in a perfect world, maybe you're able to figure it out with Hassan Reddick and then also add an interior guy. But if not, I have some edge options for you as well. So let's start with a veteran, one of the best interior defensive linemen against the run in the NFL over the last decade, and that is Shelby Harris, who is with the Cleveland Browns. Now, listed at 6'2", 288, he is 33 years old. This year has 10 tackles, 9 stops on 110 run defense snaps. Now, he started 5 of 6 games, so he's essentially been a starter, and this is his second year in Cleveland. As I mentioned, he's kind of bounced around the league. You probably remember him from the Denver Broncos early on in his career, but he's kind of just a big, stout, beefy guy who's been very good against the run. Is he going to ever put up flashy numbers as a pass rusher? No, that's not what I'm asking for this particular trade. I'm talking, you're tossing a 6th round pick to the to the Cleveland Browns, being like, hey, you want to move on from the Shelby Harris contract? And he's got a favorable contract too. No guaranteed money in 2025, so they can keep it or get out of it if need be, whatever their preference is. He has a low base salary this year at $1.21 million and a $510,000 per game roster bonus. Again, is it flashy? No, that's not the point of this video. I'm trying to go under the radar guys who could help with a very unique issue the Jets are having, very specific issue, mainly with their run defense. Also, I'm looking at teams who aren't very good. I'm not going to be poking around, hey, who's the Baltimore Ravens have? No, they want to keep all their guys. I'm talking about teams who have not been very good, unfortunately, this year. So the Browns fit that bill. Also, the Tennessee Titans fit that bill. I'm taking a look at Sebastian Joseph Day, interior defensive lineman. He's 29 years old. He's on a 1-year deal. He's 6'4", 310 pounds. It's first year with the Titans. He was a 2018 6th round pick by the Los Angeles Rams. He's got 7 pressures, has a couple of sacks already too, but 10 tackles and 11 stops in the run game. 2020 was his best year as a run defender. I know that's 4 or 5 years ago at this point, but still solid enough for me. Maybe not as good as Shelby Harris against the run, but again, the Jets could just use an upgrade there. Looking at the contract, it's on a 1-year deal, low cap number, $1.35 million in base salary. Don't think it would cost you a whole lot to pry him away from the Tennessee Titans, who are going through a bit of a rebuild process. Guys, I want to talk to you about today's sponsor, Lofi, best nicotine pouches on the market. You guys know my story by now. Grew up as a mediocre baseball player, but picked up a mediocre habit of dipping. And, well, products like Lofi helped me stop. I love the wintergreen and the mint flavor. I've also been enjoying the espresso flavor as well. Usually when I'm feeling a midday slump come on, I like to toss one in. So here's what you need to do. Level up your nicotine routine with Lofi. Go to lucy.co/O'Leary and make sure to use my promo code O'Leary to get 20% off your first order. Lofi also has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind or if you're not satisfied. Here comes the fine print. Lofi products are for adults only of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. All right, I cheated slightly because this next guy, I don't know how under the radar it is because I've seen a lot of Jet fans talk about this player, and he's a bigger name than everyone else on this list, and that's Jadeveon Clowney, edge rusher. He's with the Carolina Panthers. He's 31 years old now, 6'6", 274 pounds. He has been for a decade now, pretty much ever since he was drafted, one of the best defending run edges in the league for a long time. Again, like you always kind of wanted more from him as a number 1 overall pick, at least in a pass rushing department. And he only has 1 sack this year. He does have 14 pressures, though. Last year with Baltimore, he was great, had 9.5 sacks, was just as good as usual against the run. But the Jets were already interested in him in the offseason. They took a meeting with him. He ends up signing in Carolina to, quote, go home. I think he wants a contract, whoever is going to give him the best contract. Now, this year, $1.2 million base salary, low cap number, but he is under contract for 2025, and it is at a bigger cap number. Probably a little bit more than you could like, but you could get out of it at only $2 million guaranteed. It's not going to cost you a whole lot of money to get out of that contract if need be, but the Jets very well might want to keep that veteran presence around, and if they do, well, then it lines up with this Aaron Rodgers window that you're assuming is this year and next. Finally, the last guy on my list is Dennis Gardeck. He is from the Arizona Cardinals, an edge defender. He's a rotational guy. He's 30 years old at this point. He was a UDFA. He had 6 sacks last year, though, in a rotation role, which was good. And he's got 3 sacks, actually, so far this year through 6 games. For his size, he's a smaller kind of guy, kind of like a Will McDonald or Hassan Reddick type of edge rusher. But for his size, he's actually pretty good against the run. I'm not saying he's elite. He's definitely not as good as Jadeveon Clowney is against the run, but I feel like he holds his own, especially for his size. He's got 12 tackles this year, along with 10 stops, and looking at his contract, he's on an expiring deal and would likely come pretty cheap. And he gives you a little bit more pass rush juice than some of the other guys on this list. So the Jets could just use bodies on the line, even if it's in a rotational role that's taking snaps away from Michael Clemens on the opposite side. And while Clemens has kind of been billed as a good run defender, unfortunately, he hasn't been a good run defender since his rookie year. Last year was really struggled. I know they asked him to put on weight and move him inside, and then he lost the weight, and now they move him outside. But just we see the same issues week after week where he over pursues, loses gap containment, and it's a little frustrating. And I think the Jets could use help on the defensive line. So those are the 4 names that I'm thinking of for, again, relatively under the radar guys. If you have someone in mind that I missed on this list or someone you'd like to see added, let me know in the comments. I am Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time.